calling the UCAMC Commission meeting to order. Let's start with roll call.
Right, welcome to the University Hill Commercial Area Management Commission meeting. It is November 4th, 2025, and I will call roll. Trent Bush is not here. Phil Jones.
Here.
Danica Powell.
Here.
Real quick, are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Sorry. Ted Rockwell.
Oh, it's me. Yeah, hi, here.
Danny Anderson.
Here.
Thank you. I will turn the meeting over to Chair Rockwell for procedural items.
Thank you, Ellie. So first thing in our procedural item are the meeting minutes. We also have the approval of the summit meeting minutes, and we have item C of the draft meeting schedule. Does anyone have any edits to the September meeting minutes or to the October all commission summit meeting minutes? So I'm going to pair those two and ask for motion to approve the September 25 meeting minutes and the October all CV commission summit meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion? Motion to approve. Do I hear a second? I have a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor of approval?
Aye.
Thank you, Danica. That is unanimous for approval. In our packet, we have the draft meeting schedule for this next year, which includes, I'm trying to get there real quick here. Here we go. I got it. Thank you. January 6th, it's the first Tuesday of each month. I don't think there's any, except for the September 8th ends up being staggered because of Labor Day.
Why is July on a Wednesday?
Because July 4th why is the July 1 on Wednesday?
I think that one's great.
Let me pull up the main document.
We might be having a DMC because of the 4th of July. Or something else went on Tuesday.
Oh, look at who's here. Thanks.
That was the only thing I saw.
Okay.
That still wouldn't make sense. Well, this DMC.
I think it's just because the first. Oh, because that's the first Tuesday in July.
So should it say Tuesday, July 7th, or? I didn't check the date, actually.
I'm gonna look, because I checked dates and it should say Tuesday, July 7th.
Okay,
Not
it's different
Wednesday.
dates, but yeah.
Is the
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah. Okay, so
good. Thank you.
any other comments on the proposed schedule or concerns about the schedule? Okay,
Well, this moment.
all right. I will say that if I am still serving March 3rd, which I think I will be, I will be late to that particular meeting. So heads up to Vice Chair Powell that on March 3rd, you'll probably have to start the meeting with that night.
Cause that I was gonna be a little late specifically.
Heads up.
I don't know how you can plan ahead to March 3rd, but that's amazing.
That is, I have a dentist's appointment, so it's quite literally like, yeah, thanks. So, okay, do I hear a motion to accept the meeting schedule as proposed with the adjustments for the July dates to say Tuesday, July 7th? Thank you, Tel, for that. Second to Dane here. Any further discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote on that. All in favor? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you for that. It took a minute. Let's go to public participation. Are there any members of the public here who would like to address UCAMC today?
I do have Lynn Siegel online with her hand raised.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was at the Munchkin Parade. Can you put the gallery up? I'd like to see who I'm speaking to, please. Yes or no will do.
Can you see everyone now?
Yeah. So now I can't. Now it's just my name.
You may need to, do you need to adjust on your end, speaker view or gallery view?
There is no choice at my end.
Okay,
Do you see us, when you speak?
I see you now. Now I don't.
Okay, so if you, do you see us at the top of your screen when you're not speaking, like a small box at the top?
Yeah, I see a broader view at the top when I'm not looking at my screen, and then three views at the, three video windows at the bottom underneath that.
Yeah, so that's
Now I
everyone.
just see my name. It keeps on flipping back to my name whenever you put it to me.
Yeah, so that's a setting on your end. So if you right click us at the top and choose pin.
It
then
says sign in and recording. That's my only choices, and enlarge or shrink.
Can
At
you
my
spot-
In? In it?
spotlight for everyone.
here we go. Yeah.
I see three at the bottom now. Chris
now, Lynn.
and I don't know, the middle guy and Danica at the bottom. And three broader visions at the top.
Do you see us all now, Lynn?
Ted.
Or-
Ted
Yeah.
Rockwell, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just talk, why don't you start I need to also have a video window for my timer. So I know how long to talk.
Hi, Lynn, we don't have that for this commission, sorry.
So how do I know I'm just gonna get cut off in the middle of my sentence?
I can keep a timer for you and I can give you a 30-second.
Okay,
heads up.
that's cool. Okay,
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. Well, what can we do for you here today, Lynn?
do you want me to start now?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, on, was it Saturday or Sunday, the Munchkin Parade? My friend was playing, saxophone and had a thing of candy for the kids. And this guy that said, I followed him afterwards, and he went to another guy that was playing, strings on the mall and complained to him too. But, he complained about the saxophone somehow that you couldn't play on the mall. And he said, the police are right over there. I'm just telling you, like, people do it all the time, but you could be cited for it, and the police are right over there. So it's very intimidating. And I like my friend to be able to play the sax on, for kids on the mall in the Munchkin Parade. Like, this is just outrageous. And the guy, after I followed him to the other guy to see, he was also stopping that guy, the guy that was playing strings. And this was in front of the courthouse area. And that guy, the same thing. They were not amplifying or anything. So what gives? He said, I asked him where he was from, and he said he was deployed from the Hill to cover the Munchkin Parade. So I just don't want my tax dollars, when we have a budget crisis like we have now, I don't want my tax dollars pulling people over for playing music on the mall. I mean, what is it next? Oh, no art on the mall. No, no this. It's like, where do I live? I saw a talk on Sand Creek the other day, and people are coming from the East Coast to the West Coast, and they came to Colorado, and it's just a desert wasteland. They just wanted to get through, to get the gold in California until they figured out gold was here. But, this place is so conservative. They did the Sand Creek Massacre. I feel like this is the Sand Creek Massacre of saxophones. So I'm just saying, like, I don't want to spend my tax dollars this way when we have a budget crisis. So that's all.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn, for that comment and for your concern. Does anyone have anything they'd like to follow up there with? Okay. Do we have any other members of the public here who'd like to speak to the commission?
Hey, Dakota here with the Hill. I'm not sure if I apologize if we're on the schedule, if now is a great time for me to touch base, or if you want to loop me in at a time that works better with your schedule today.
You're free to address us as a member of the public, and then I'm sure if
You are on the agenda.
and you are on the agenda for later.
Okay. I can wait till then. Thanks.
Sure. Are there any other members of the public here to address the commission today?
There's no one else online.
All right. Thank you, Ellie. That moves us on to the consent agenda. Did everyone have a chance to read the consent agenda today? And does anyone have any questions or anything further to add to the consent agenda? Or in reference to it? Okay, great. We'll move forward then, and move us into an update from the Hill Boulder. Well, so I'm just gonna be clear about this. Our consent agenda included Q3 fund financials and visitation. Is there any discussion around fund financials and the visitation report?
No questions on my end.
All right, how's it going?
Good.
Good. No worries. Great. We'll move ahead then into the Hill Boulder update. Is Jake Hudson Humphrey here today?
Dakota's on.
And that's Dakota. Okay, Dakota, you're up.
Hey, I don't have any specific updates prepared. I just wanted to take the opportunity to touch base with you all, to thank you for your ongoing support. I know that given the current climate and budget concerns and there not being a feeling of surplus, that we certainly appreciate the support on our end. And I also wanted to let you all know that we are here as your partners. And if there are ways in which we can help support causes or champion projects or missions that you all feel like you could use some extra support from the commercial district on, we welcome you to reach out. And also, if in general there's other ways that we can help and be of better use, we appreciate that. I have been attending the new Downtown Development Authority meetings. I think, like all of you, it'll be interesting to see how this affects us all. And I think of all the stakeholders, everyone I'm sure has their own, sort of take and hope to get out of this perhaps collective redistricting. I guess it would be interesting and perhaps helpful if, as this moves forward, we're able to touch base on how we're feeling about the things going forward, and if they best serve our visions for the Hill, both the practical financing, ongoing support and mechanisms, as well as sort of the more, character and soul development and ongoing support of. So yeah, anyways, just wanted to take the moment to touch base and thank you all. It was quite a while ago that I was on UKMC, but I can still remember that it is a full task and not often thanked. So we do appreciate you all from our little Hill Boulder nonprofit.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dakota. Really appreciate that. And just know that you are always welcome to address this commission. We would welcome updates from the Hill Boulder anytime. And there will be at least one seat available coming up this next year. So if you or someone who wants to serve, please make them available so that the city can take them into consideration to serve on this commission. In terms of the DDA, I think that there will be opportunities for engagement along those lines. Sounds like you're already engaged, but you're talking a little bit about maybe specifically having the Hill Commission and maybe the Hill Boulder have, some momentum going into some of those conversations. So know that we are here and that, that is a possibility that we could be getting together to talk about that. So,
Yeah, I think, if we're able to have sideboards and kind of be aligned, it might help strengthen our views as we share them alongside perhaps voices that carry a bit more weight in these conversations in our city. Yeah, but that'd be great, and I'm sure we'll have the chance to touch base and talk more as the process moves along. But I did want to put that on the radar and offer it up.
sounds great. Keep in mind that on our agenda next, we're going to get an update on parking pricing, but the VDA update's coming up next. So you may want to stay tuned on this call and hear what's going on there. But yes, let's also continue conversation. Does any other commissioner have any questions or anything to add to Dakota this time?
Thanks for your appreciation.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all.
Right. Believe that brings us to matters from staff.
All right. So first up, we have Sam Bromberg is online, so you might want to spotlight her. And Christine's here as well, just to share some updates on where we're at with the parking pricing for 2026 on the Hill.
Awesome, and apologies for the terrible lighting in here. And let me get my slideshow up. Hopefully everyone will be able to see it. Is that working?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. I won't take up too much of your time, but I do want to give a brief update on parking pricing changes that are happening in 2026. So I'll launch right into it. First, just wanted to update you on the 14th Street surface lot. You may remember that we made the decision with UCAMC's blessing to offer some parking permits in the lot in addition to the hourly parking. I wanted to let you know that as of today, there are 8 permits sold. We were offering up to 35, so there hasn't been as much demand as we originally anticipated for these permits. And right now, it's only businesses that are purchasing the permits. We have a limit, which is 1 per individual and 2 per business, so that's something that could be revisited in the future. They're $75 a month. They're not going to be changing in price next year. And I've noticed, just based on my observations, that peak occupancy for that lot, by my data, that peak occupancy lot for that lot is around midday. We haven't specifically heard feedback from businesses that they would like more than 2 permits, but because all of the interest so far has been by businesses and we haven't sold that many, that might be something that we could reconsider in future years to see if, that is of interest. And then occupancy data related to that lot and also on-street occupancy will be sent in our annual ramp report, which you'll probably receive at your next meeting in January, but that usually goes to council around December. Parking rates across the entire city are going up 50 cents per hour. So that's completely citywide. This was approved by city council as part of the budget process. So I've got this map, which just indicates that all of the existing blocks in University Hill will be going from $1.50 to $2 per hour. And the surface lot, the 14th Street surface lot, is going to be going up from $2 to $2.50 per hour because of that change. And that's all I got. So I'm open to questions, feedback on either the 14th Street lot permits or the 2026 pricing changes. I'm happy to go back to any of the 2 previous slides if there's desire.
How is the 14th Street lot permit program advertised, or, I mean, how would anybody else know about it other than the businesses that would go to?
We did some initial advertising when we released the permits, and so I believe we put it in the Hill newsletter and had some information that went out. We don't have a program in place right now for like continuous marketing. We do have information on our website, But we don't really have the resources for like a marketing program, as it were, but certainly we're open to suggestions and, you know, um, yeah.
So one thing I noticed that wasn't a draw for people was the pricing. You can get pretty close to the same spot on the street, so pick a block, and I think that's 110 a quarter versus $75 a month.
You're talking about the neighborhood,
That's
like
correct.
commuter permits. The neighborhood commuter permits are, yeah, I believe they're $40 and around 40 or $40.50 per month. So the permits in the lot are considerably more expensive at $75 a month.
Mhm. For the same, not guaranteed parking.
Well, we don't guarantee parking anywhere in the city, so that's the same with our downtown garages and our downtown like all of our surface lots. Will never guarantee that there's space available. But just to give you an idea of how much we charge for the garages downtown, they're gonna be $170 a month next year. So the Hill is still priced considerably lower than downtown, but um, but still higher than the neighborhood commuter permits.
Would it make any sense to compare that kind of neighborhood street, parking to kind of right size the 14th Street permit pricing? I mean, if people are kind of literally looking at those as options, one against the other, it would seem a fairly obvious choice for somebody, right? Maybe choosing the more affordable one.
When we initially proposed the pricing for the 14th Street lot permits, what we were comparing was not necessarily the on-street commuter permits, but we were looking at comparable lots in the area. So I believe it's there's a church on University Hill that sells commuter permits. There's also the lot that CU has that sells commuter permits. So those were the comparable prices that we were looking at, and $75 was like right, right around where they were offering their permits for. That's not to say that we can't reconsider that cost.
And Sam, we are sold out of neighborhood community permits in that area, correct?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's not really-
absolutely.
That's interesting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and one,
Okay. I'm curious, with the pricing increases, does this include, if I recall correctly, there was like an in-demand kind of surcharge as well that may be coming into effect? Is that affecting the Hill as well?
not
Well,
next year.
Not next year, okay.
Yeah, so typically we follow what's called our performance-based parking or performance-based pricing regulations for how we adjust pricing year over year. This year, our budget team identified our parking pricing as a lever to help address some of the budget shortfalls. And so this year, we're not following our normal performance-based pricing protocol. I'm still going to be preparing my normal report that goes to council and the commissions at the end of the year to show what demand actually was. But this is the only pricing change that's going to go into effect next year. And then the following year, presumably, we'll go back to our normal model performance-based pricing, which is where we will raise and lower prices once per year based on demand.
Thank you for that. On the 14th Street lot, wondering if is there a feedback loop currently with the city for businesses or anything like that? Sounds like maybe that's something we may want to kind of figure out, or I don't even know what I'm suggesting, poll the businesses on the Hill about this. If they're the primary users and yet we're still seeing kind of a lag in demand, what pain points may end up being. We've heard one business owner say that it could be the street pricing, but that doesn't necessarily seem to be true, or ring true, I should say. What am I trying to say, Sam? Is there a way to, have a feedback loop with the business community to figure out where the pain points are for this particular lot?
I think that's certainly an option that's on the table. I think that's something that our new economic development department could maybe help facilitate for this particular program. I don't want to speak for the future of that department or their work plans or, what makes sense, but I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to request. It just requires staff time and resources to put those feedback mechanisms into place. And as I'm sure you've heard, I won't be part of the economic development department. I'm going to, my position is going to transportation and mobility, so we'll need to make sure that we have that strong connection between the departments as well.
Yeah. So the suggestion there is to maybe pin that idea for now and bring it back up again. Once we're kind of in the new regime.
Yeah, and Chris, feel free to jump in here.
Yeah, I think just from your role and representation, on UCamp State, it's something you wanna keep an eye on is time moves forward with production and engagement.
That makes sense. Does anyone have any further questions for Sam at this time?
There you go.
Seeing none. Thank you very much, Sam. Really appreciate that update.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, next we have Regan Brown here. I'm not sure if Matt Shazansky's online, but for a DDA.
Thanks, Chris. I'm gonna share a draft map with you all. I don't have slides. I will likely have slides at the next meeting. We're still just very in the early stages of this, but I am gonna share a draft. So we're gonna make it bigger. Okay, I think that's the best I can do for now. So we're continuing to work closely with the planning group to refine this. These are very preliminary boundaries. Still in the very early stages of this, so there will be plenty of opportunity to provide input. Our next planning group meeting is on November 20th. As you all know, Danica serves on the planning group. And that's when we're really gonna be gathering some final feedback from the planning group on boundary development. So as you can see, right now, it includes UJID, the civic area, KJID, and the bid. And then it kind of flagpoles along Broadway and captures the future Western City campus. And then across the street, that ideal market area as well. So again, there will be opportunities to provide input on that. We're finalizing our engagement plan with Puma right now. So over the next few months, we are going to start doing some targeted outreach to those who would be impacted by the DDA, so property owners, business owners, residents. And the goal is both to inform you all about the process and gather input while we do that. We're also soon going to be conducting a deeper financial analysis, so looking at tax increment financing, TIF projections, evaluation of a potential mill levy, how does this impact existing districts? So those are all things we're going to be looking at more deeply over the next few months. And then looking a bit more ahead, early in the new year, we are going to begin drafting the plan of development. So that'll be an opportunity likely for broader community engagement, just to really identify key priority projects and improvements that the DDA would potentially take on. So in summary, still in the early analysis and refinement stage, seeking guidance from the planning group soon, with more broader engagement coming soon. And then we are tentatively going to be going to council Q1 of 2026, just to give an update, gather their direction, and prepare for the November 2026 ballot initiative. So. Yes.
I was gonna ask if you're gonna reach out to the property owners, especially up in this flag, whatever, this,
Mhm.
the I don't know what to call it, Western Campus. Which, and is, so I guess is a couple thoughts, what, the city is. The owns Western Campus and it will be VHP in the city, so they're tax exempt, right? So that wouldn't have any. Tax tip or anything. So I'm curious why you would include that in the map, and then. Why not Boulder Med Center, which is right there, and was that, and I can provide feedback later, but.
Yeah, no, that's all.
It just seems like an interesting boundary up there, and also there's a lot of commercial along Broadway.
Yeah,
That I don't know. Why would you just go, it looks like it's just on the street and not any properties, is that?
right. So it provides the opportunity for properties to easily annex into the district. But that's great feedback. I mean, maybe there is an opportunity to just include them now. Maybe that's something that would be desired. And so I think these are all things to be discussed on November 20th.
And what I also think is be really interesting is what's happening with the land use map, and we're not gonna know that until
So
later, but there might be a lot of changes because they're
Yeah.
talking about. Like, getting rid of a lot of land use categories and.
totally.
So this is to me, it should be, if we're going all the way up there, to me, it's a corridor, not just a flagpole, so.
Mhm. Okay, that's great.
But I don't know what those property owners think. so.
Yeah, and to your point with the new land use concept, we're coordinating really closely with the comprehensive planning team, so we're just in sync on how that would affect this.
Yeah, if we're gonna go up there, let's be mindful about it, because the Western Campus isn't gonna bring any value to this process, because there's no tax. So,
Would it be possible to zoom in on stuff basically north of Arapahoe, the leg down there that is basically part of where UCAMC is currently? This is the first time I've seen this map, which I'm pretty astounded by. It was awesome.
North or south of Aurora?
Just
South.
keep scrolling south, yeah.
Is there,
Yeah, the hill there, yeah.
do you want me to go south to the hill?
Yeah, let's keep going south there. Let's just make sure, okay, all right. Interesting. It's what we would anticipate, right? I think so.
is it the same boundaries, is it our boundary or bigger?
It's the,
I think it's the same.
I think it's the same
Well,
on the south
I
end.
would say between Pennsylvania and Pleasant, it seems like there's some residential properties included in there, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, between 12th
But they're
and,
not in Egypt.
yeah. uh-huh.
So I think the plan will be to gather input from the planning group on November 20th, and then we can send this around more broadly once we refine it a bit more. This is gonna be a work in progress over the next several months.
Yeah,
And of course, the gas station is not in Egypt, but it doesn't. should be.
Definitely should be.
yeah.
So,
Well, it kind of speaks to Danica's point about the northern Broadway corridor there. You know, we're doing that down here in terms of considering which businesses go on. So it may make sense for that to be a uniform process or decision or whatever you want to say in terms of permission. Okay.
and it includes the civic.
Doesn't put the civic area, that, yeah, so that's still a question. Do we want to include East Brookend? Yeah, a lot of things.
I will be careful. I know this isn't, we're talking about UPMC, but it's the first time I've seen the map, so.
Yeah. Well, I think you brought up a consideration around what they're calling the Western Campus, right? Is that right? And why it might be included, and it occurs to me, I'm curious whether or not there's any plans to essentially be a landlord for any businesses that could exist on those parcels, right? And maybe that becomes something that is, I don't know, considered in the TIF.
And
calculations?
my understanding, there's only a very small amount of retail, like maybe 15. Maybe there's no retail. There was either very little or zero.
Retail, okay.
So it's all off, it's civic buildings and VHP and they're tax exempt. Building affordable housing.
To your point, then, it would be good to understand why something is being included that potentially isn't generating revenue
Yeah.
for the DDA.
Yeah.
And that's similar consideration for where the hill's going to, right? There could be those kinds of intersections as well, so.
Yeah, so I just wanted you all to have a sneak peek. So it's a little preliminary. I know it hasn't been shared with the planning group yet. It will over the next week or so before the meeting, so.
Any other questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you very
In
much.
the chat.
All right.
All right, last on the list is the letter to council. So you'll recall everyone sent in their proposals. We synthesized that into a letter that you reviewed at the All Commission Summit, then got additional edits. I don't know if you, I'm not sure who to, Ted. Who that was, but now, so we're hopefully at a near final draft. And so now is the time for you all to take a look at what we've prepared based on that process and edit accordingly for final approval.
Thank you very much, Chris. Does anyone have any conversation around this particular letter before we get
How
into?
did we end it?
So there was basically
The verbiage that we were debating about.
there was verbiage in the number 5, respecting the work of UCAMC was the thing. And there was some language in there that might have been seen as fighting words. I don't know, that maybe that's too strong for us either. This is really just about, making sure that UCAMC has a voice.
Okay, yeah.
And that the commission itself is a part of how those things happen. In particular, I think part of the reason for this statement is because of some of the changes that are currently happening within how the commission may be managed by the city.
Yes.
To ensure that we're putting this out there, that there's real expertise on this commission and it should be heard. But we took out some of the language that felt a little personalized, or I don't know, it wasn't helpful in some class. It's fine.
I feel it's great.
Yeah, it was great.
Has everyone had a chance to read it then? All right, I'm gonna make a motion. It's one of the only times I've ever done this as the chair, to accept the letter as submitted to, in our packet today. Do we have a second? All right, any discussion on the letter?
Thank you for all the hard work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everyone.
You did good.
I'd like to thank city staff actually, because a lot of this stuff ended up on their shoulders to try to summarize all our thoughts, feelings, and everything else. So I really do appreciate that work.
And thank you to council for giving us the opportunity to write a letter, because I know it's not always an opportunity, so appreciate that.
You're here. All right. I'm gonna call the question. Let's go ahead and vote on this letter. All those in favor of accepting this letter to send to council, aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. And do that. All right. That brings us, anything else, management staff, that we order kind of crap? Great. We're moving to matters from commissioners, the bi-monthly check-in recap. Actually, so what we talked about in the October 14th meeting, a lot of DDA discussion. Danica is our representative for that. We were talking about the map, and so we got to see the map today, which was great. We talked a little bit about the median work, and at that time we were having some traffic woes there at that exact time. The plantings are delayed till spring. I think that people are understanding that. It's also in our consent agenda. A little bit of discussion about the All Commission Summit that happened on the 20th. And the letters just approved. There was some discussion about community vitality transition. Not much that we should bring up here because it's still a work in progress. We'll find out more as we move forward. And then we talked a little bit about the role of the general fund transfer as it relates to how we might approach council about our concerns about CAMC's fund balance. And some of that language, some of the work that we did there ended up in the letter that we just approved. So that was a valuable conversation. So that was essentially what happened in that meeting. The next one of those will be coming up, and we'll include Trent, and we'll reach out to him. I'm sure he's there. Any other matters the commissioners may have to address this time in this meeting and forum? I'd like to thank city staff at this time that have been supporting the CAMC over the last several years, knowing that the restructuring is about to occur. In particular, Chris, I'd like to thank you for your leadership through a lot of these things. We've, been dealing with a lot of different changes on that. And it's been very helpful to have somebody with the knowledge of how the city works, how council works, be able to be a steward there with us. So I really appreciate that. Ellie, for your support. I know that you do a lot of stuff behind the scenes for us. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you're still helping us in the future, but who knows? But yeah, thank you to all city staff. We really do appreciate the support you give us, and hopefully we're not crossing paths more in the future. So it's that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's well deserved. Upcoming meetings, we have our bi-monthly check-in meeting Tuesday, the 9th. It's me and Trent Bush. Like I said, I will get in touch with Trent to make sure he's aware of that. Our next regular commission meeting is 4 p.m. on Tuesday, January 6th. Does anyone have anything else for you CAMC at this time? See none. I'm going to adjourn this meeting and you CAMC. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you.
How about that?